The fishing news is brought to you by Interlux Marine Paint, Fanatics of Ocean City, Maxima Fishing Line, and Okuma.
Well, our July 4th weekend forecast from the Fisherman magazine for the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition. I'm Jim Hutchinson, and the summer pattern is definitely off what's typically found around this time of year. Now, you don't forget the spring season and the spring run got off to an earlier start. Now, all of a sudden, we're finding that the run of Raritan Bay doormats is already underway this first weekend of July. Typically won't start until later into July, into August. Well, lo and behold, the fish of the week goes to Gary Thompson, 15 pounds, 3 ounces. He caught that aboard the Captain John out of Keyport over the weekend. Now, Gary was using a 4-ounce Spro bucktail for this monster fish. The skipper says that they've had a really good run of big fish, and they've been finding a lot more big fluke in that deeper water. Most of the time they're in the shallow edges, along the edges or along the flats. Now they're already looking for those big fluke in the deeper water. John, the Captain John, they say it's the best bite they've had in 5 or 6 years up on the Raritan. Mint Davis, he agrees. He checked in with us, checked in for the Fisherman magazine's Facebook page this week, 9.5 pounds earlier this week. Again, also using a Spro combo with a Gulp on the Raritan Bay. Make sure if you're looking for something to do this weekend, hit those Raritan Bay head boats and the charter boats. Get out there on the deep water grounds. Should be a busy weekend. I expect it's going to be a busy weekend here in Barnegat Light too, with everybody piling on the party boats. Slowly but surely, the other snags and wrecks throughout the region are starting to produce. Also back here in the Barnegat Bay has been doing pretty well. Young Austin Dodge, a 4-year-old, he checked in, was excited by his catch that he and his grandpa Levy, 18 to 24 inches, they had checked in with their mess of fish over at Creekside Outfitters. I am hearing of more good fluking back here behind Barnegat Inlet. Figures, because where I spend most of my time fishing is at the other end of LBI, it's picky. You really got to work your way through if you're fishing in those back bays. But I do have some reports from some of the jetty jocks at Manasquan and at Barnegat. Along the wall in Manasquan, for example, has been producing for folks bucktailing. If you're going to try the surf throughout the region this week, try light bucktails or jigs tipped with the Gulp. The Gulp swimming mullet is always a surefire way, and also the Gulp shrimp. It was a Gulp shrimp, actually, that did it for David here, David DiArcangelo, a 9-pound fish, 9-pound weak fish in the LBI surf, checked in with Fisherman's headquarters. More and more good-sized weak fish reported from throughout the state. The Cape May bite was on fire about a month ago, and now more of those good-sized weak fish are being distributed. Now, we still have some good striped bass reports in the surf. Not a lot, but primarily Central and North Jersey. Vic Saxone here had a 38-pounder. Now, he was using, check this out, he'd run out of Grumpy's bunker. So he went in and started chunking eels. Caught this 38-pounder on a chunked eel. Not the way I was taught to eel in the surf, but if it works, keep it up. By the way, as far as the tournaments go, we talked about fluking. Plenty of fluke tournaments. You got 2 good ones. As far as this weekend, there's a contest on Saturday here on LBI to benefit the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. That's being presented by the Beach Haven Marlin and Tuna Club. It's their first annual Flukamania tournament. You can get details by going to flukamania.com. Also kicking off as far as July 1st through the 30th, Dave at the Real Seed is running a fundraiser for the Save the Summer Flounder Fishery Fund. That runs all through the month, so wherever you're catching fish in the state of New Jersey, you just have to register first at the Real Seat and also weigh your big fluke in there as well. You can go to therealseat.com for details on that. A lot of the boats are very happy about the fact in New Jersey as we get our sea bass limit back. Folks like the Carolyn Ann 3, the Miss Barnegat Light, up and down the coast in New Jersey, we get our 2-fish black sea bass limit back. So I'm sure folks are going to be very happy this weekend as they're working those rec sites for fluke. Now you get a couple of humpbacks into the mix and you can put them in the box. Of course, our guys down there in Delaware, you've got it all made, baby. You've got black sea bass, 15-fish limit throughout the summer. Good for you. We're finding the best action offshore is still to the south as well. Off of the canyons, off of the Delmarva Peninsula, but they're starting to move north, yellowfin and big eye. We found Bruce, Josh, Brad, and Darrell brought their fish into Lewis Harbor Marina found some yellowfin. We're hearing some white marlin bites as well, and the big eye. They caught this at the Poormans, but those fish are starting to move north, and we're also getting some decent reports of bluefin due east of here. So make sure you're all ready to go, because those fish are there. The NOAA weather forecast for the offshore waters this weekend look good. Through Sunday and into Monday, mostly 2 to 3s, some 2 to 4s. Friday into Saturday, the midweek forecast is calling for a little bit bigger swell if you're doing an overnighter, but mostly pretty good. Inshore looks good as well. Mostly light winds and fair seas. And all indications are it should be a wonderful 4th of July weekend. A great opportunity, hopefully have a 3-day weekend to enjoy fishing with family and friends. So get out there and celebrate the red, white, and blue, maybe the red, white, and blue fish, like these bluefish. The Central and North Jersey party boats focusing on bluefish, like the big Jamaica. So get out there, tangle with one of those big bluefish. Maybe you can put it on the Fisherman Magazine's Dream Boat Leaderboard. Be sure, it's going to be a busy weekend. All right, be safe, be happy, catch them up, have a great time. We will check in with you on the other end, on the other side of the weekend, with next week's forecast and another weekly edition of the Fisherman Magazine.
The fishing news is brought to you by Indulux Marine Paint, Fanatics of Ocean City, Maxima Fishing Line, and Okuma.